My name is Dean, and I never believed in the supernatural or the presence of pure evil until one fateful night when I came face to face with true horror. It was a cold, moonless night in the heart of Louisiana, the kind of night that makes your skin crawl and your senses heighten beyond normal. I was driving home after a long day. The road was deserted, illuminated only by the dim glow of my headlights. As I rounded a bend, something caught my eye. An eerie figure standing by the side of the road. My heart skipped a beat as I slowed down to get a better look. It was a woman, tall and slender, her features obscured by the shadows. Instinctively, I reached for my phone to call the police, but before I could dial, the figure vanished into the darkness. Shaken but determined to help, I pulled over and got out of my car, cautiously scanning the area with my flashlight. I called out, but there was no response. Just the howling of the wind and the rustling of leaves. Suddenly, I heard a twig snap behind me. I spun around, my heart pounding in my chest, only to find myself face to face with the woman from the road. Her eyes gleamed in the darkness, filled with a chilling intensity that sent shivers down my spine. Before I could react, she lunged at me with a knife. I stumbled backward, my mind racing as I desperately tried to fend her off. But she was relentless. Her movements fluid and precise as she closed in on me with deadly intent. With a surge of adrenaline, I managed to break free and shoved her to the ground. She sprang to her feet with lightning speed, blocking the driver's side door of my car. Fearing for my life, I abandoned any thought of returning to the vehicle. It would have consumed too much time and left me vulnerable. Instead, I bolted, running for my life, her laughter echoing in my ears as I fled down the dark road. I didn't stop until I reached the safety of my home, where I immediately called the police and reported the encounter. Days passed with no sign of the mysterious woman, but the fear lingered like a dark cloud over my life. I couldn't shake the feeling that she was still out there, watching and waiting, biding her time until she could strike again. Then one night, as I lay awake in bed, I heard a noise coming from the hallway. A soft, steady footstep, like someone creeping closer and closer. My heart raced as I reached for the baseball bat I kept by my bedside, my hands trembling with fear. I crept out into the darkness, my senses on high alert as I searched for the source of the noise. And that's when I saw her, the woman from the road, her eyes gleaming with malice as she stood at the end of the hallway, bathed in the glow of the moonlight. A sinister smirk appeared on her face as her mouth gaped, releasing the most maniacal laughter I've ever heard in my life. I froze, unable to move as she took a step forward, her shadow stretching out towards me like a sinister specter. In that moment, I knew that I was face to face with pure evil, a deranged person who had somehow found her way into my home. But instead of giving in to fear, I summoned every ounce of courage I had and charged at her with a primal scream, swinging the bat with all my might. The sound of the bat cracking against her skull echoed through the dark hall. The impact sent her stumbling backward, her mask of invincibility shattered in an instant. As she lay on the ground, dazed and disoriented, I seized the opportunity to flee, racing out into the night with adrenaline coursing through my veins. I didn't stop until I reached the nearest police station, where I collapsed in a heap, gasping for breath and shaking with exhaustion. The authorities launched a massive manhunt, but the woman was never found. I later learned that she was a wanted serial killer known as the Butterfly Lady. She would pretend to be stranded on the highway, luring men in with her beauty and brutally murdering them. To this day, I live in fear, haunted by the memory of that fateful encounter and the knowledge that she could be lurking in the shadows, waiting to strike again. But I refuse to let her win. I will always be vigilant, ready to defend myself against her darkness that threatens to consume me.